Welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today, think of me as your senior engineer. We are going to build a secure mesh network from absolute scratch. We're treating this as a step-by-step technical tutorial, taking you through the exact quick start process to get your network up and running instantly. No fluff, just rapid deployment. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the 5-minute mesh, move on to creating your network, enrolling your devices, connecting the nodes, verifying the connection, and finally wrap up with troubleshooting and scaling up.
Part 1, the 5-minute mesh. Traditional VPN setups can literally take days of frustrating planning and configuration. Our goal today is a completely frictionless deployment. We are putting exactly 5 minutes on the clock for this sprint. We're going to prove that you can go from zero to a fully working encrypted tunnel in the time it takes you to brew a cup of coffee. Seriously, it's the fastest path to a working mesh.
So what does this actually look like? By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a functional 10.0.0.0/24 network architecture. Inside that network, you'll have 2 live agents, each with their own virtual IP, chatting with each other over a highly secure encrypted tunnel. Moving to part 2, creating your network. Let's actually spin up the environment itself. Before we click anything, you've got to make sure you've knocked out 2 quick prerequisites. Make sure you're signed into your TLanX dashboard, and you absolutely need to have the agent installed on at least 2 devices. If you haven't done that yet, just grab the platform install guides for Windows or Linux and get that sorted. Your devices need someone to talk to on the other side, right?
Okay, creating your blueprint is incredibly simple. On the Networks page, just click Create Network. When the drawer slides out, pop in a network name. It needs to be at least 3 characters. Now, notice how dropping in a CIDR range of 10.0.0.0/24 automatically gives you 254 usable hosts. For a standard setup, just leave the network topology on Mesh mode and device mode on Tune Layer 3 and hit Create. Bam! Your network shell is alive.
Part 3, enrolling your devices. With the network shell ready, it's time to bring our actual hardware to the workbench.
When you fire up the agent on your devices for the very first time, it uses this really cool zero config mode. It basically spits out a temporary 10-character registration key right to the console. You'll want to grab that key because it's the unique identifier that links your physical machine straight to your account.
Bringing that device into your account is super straightforward. In your dashboard, under the Agents tab, just click Register by Key. Paste those 10 characters in, you'll see the counter tick up to 10 out of 10, and give it a friendly name. Seriously, call it laptop or web server. It is so much easier to manage later than a random string of numbers. Click Register Agent, and then just repeat the whole shebang for your second device. Part 4, connecting the nodes. We've got the devices enrolled, but hold on. There's one crucial distinction to make before we test anything. This is exactly where people trip up on their first try. Enrolling an agent only registers it to your account. The server knows it exists, but it hasn't actually been invited to the network party yet. Because an agent can belong to multiple networks later, we have to manually introduce them to our newly created network right now. To make that final link, head back to your Networks page. Click on the network you just built and hit Add Agent. You'll get a list of all enrolled devices that aren't in this network yet. Just tick the boxes for your new devices, click Add Agents, and the server instantly hands them each a virtual IP from your CIDR block. It's like magic. Part 5, verifying the connection. The track is built, the cars are on it. Now for the It's Alive moment, where we prove traffic is actually flowing. Stay in that network view and flip over to the Members tab. Give the agents a couple of seconds to authenticate and find their peers. You're waiting for them to show an online status right next to their new virtual addresses. Once they're online, grab the virtual IP of your target device. Pop open the command line on your first machine and fire off a ping to that virtual IP. If you get a ping reply, congratulations, your encrypted mesh tunnel is fully operational. But to really see what's happening under the hood, check out the Network's Peers tab. If you see a green direct status, you nailed a true peer-to-peer tunnel. If it's an orange relay status, traffic is bouncing through a relay because one of the networks has a strict NAT. Either way, it works, and your encrypted tunnel is securely passing traffic. Finally, Part 6, troubleshooting and scaling up. What happens if your ping just drops into the void? Don't panic. Almost every first-run issue falls into 4 easy buckets. First, check the dashboard. Is the agent offline? If so, just restart it. Second, make sure you aren't pinging the local LAN address. It has to be the virtual IP. Third, if you turned access control lists on, the default is to deny everything. Leave ACL off for this test, or add an allow rule for ICMP. And last, double-check that local firewalls like Windows Defender or UFW aren't silently eating your packets, even though the tunnel is fine. Temporarily allow ICMP to test it out. Once you've got this solid foundation, you have an infinite runway to scale. You can toss in more devices, set up private DNS so you can use actual names instead of IPs, or even use subnet advertisement to reach an entire remote LAN through just one agent. Eventually, you can lock the whole thing down with granular ACLs. So you now hold the exact step-by-step blueprint to deploy enterprise-grade encrypted networking in just minutes. All that traditional VPN friction? Totally gone. The only question left is, with this kind of power at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?